Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our last meeting of 2025, our last scheduled meeting of 2025. Of course, a meeting can always pop up, but I'd love to thank the festive spirit of council tonight and staff. If you could only see what I see from where I'm sitting today. This is the 38th meeting of the 145th Council of the Corporation of the City of St. Thomas. Are there any disclosures of interest from any of the members? Seeing none, we'll move to minutes.
I have a motion that the minutes of the meeting held on December the 8th, 2025 be confirmed. Moved by Councillor Baldwin-Sands, seconded by Councillor Herbert.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor. Any opposed? Carried.
Council will now resolve itself into committee of the whole to deal with following business. First committee this evening is Strategic Direction and Development. First item relates to a proposed zoning bylaw amendment for the property at 57, 59, 65, and 75 Walnut Street. I have a motion that report PD 7025 relating to a proposed zoning bylaw amendment for the property at 57, 59, 65, and 75 Walnut Street be received for information, and further that a public meeting be scheduled for January the 12th, 2026 in accordance with Regulation 545/06. Moved by Councillor Wookey, seconded by Councillor Clark.
Questions or comments? Councillor Wookey.
Thanks, Your Worship. My name's Steve, and I'm speaking for the other Steve tonight. I'm gonna be Steve Peters and make sure I express something he would certainly express should he have been here. And that is this: I know there's gonna be a public meeting, all that kind of. But what popped in my head was that if this is very close to the lot line, and a church built 200 years ago is right on the other side of that lot line, I was thinking about fire protection. So I'm literally things like somebody's on the third floor of their balcony, takes a cigarette and throws the butt out onto the lawn. And so I just don't know whether we can ask for, obviously you can't control that, but is there a heritage building setback? Is there anything in the Planning Act that, if there's something that old and that vulnerable to being on fire, that we can do to protect it? Can we ask for an extra 3-foot setback? Those kind of things. So that's just generally my concern. I know that anybody who loves that old church, the old English church, would be concerned about having a building. Obviously, a new building with proper fire protection is way better than what was there, and the other one burned down. Right. I mean, I get that, but just going forward, I just want to make sure that we do what we can to protect that asset. Thank you.
Please.
Yep, through your worship. Yes, no, excellent question. And the applicant was very diligent in with this submission. They've already started some consultation, not only with the church itself, the church property, but with the Heritage Committee. And they've talked about some of the concerns, like one of the primary concerns of the church is with vibration during construction. That no damage occur, and so there will be steps taken during construction to monitor it, a pre and post and during construction monitoring of the building itself, the church building itself. But all these other matters that you raise are valid matters, and those are things that we generally will deal with through the site plan process.
Thanks, Councillor Herbert.
Thank you, Worship. Will the neighbors in this area all get a notice in their mailbox that or online that it's happening? And most of us were around when we had this chaotic thing for a year where we fought Walnut Street. So I'm hoping we all learned some lessons, but I'd like to know that the neighbors know about it, what's going on. So thank you.
Yeah, so through your worship, there is a circulation to a radius of 120 meters from the lot lines. And we've also suggested that a sign be placed on the property in this instance. We do that in certain instances, so that'll help to draw more attention. And it'll also be posted in the Times Journal.
Thank you.
Councillor Clark.
Thanks, Neil. From looking at the plans, the good news is that the building will be at the north end of the property, right near Walnut Street, and the church is set back, so it looks like the building itself is parallel to the walkway and the greenery at the front of the church, so it shouldn't bother sight lines or shadows and things like that.
Right. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Are there any opposed? That is carried.
Next 4 items are from the Committee of Adjustment. The first item is notice of a public meeting to take place on January 22nd, 2026 via Zoom, and that's for an application for consent by Canadian Tire. And this is to facilitate a lease agreement that exceeds 21 years for the existing Canadian Tire gas bar area at 1063 Talbot Street. The next three are notices of decision. First one relates to a permission for a business office use within the residential zone, R4 zone at 52 Moore Street. The next notice of decision is to permit construction of a new one-story single detached dwelling in the place of a previous legal non-complying dwelling destroyed by fire at 42 Moore Street. And then the third notice of decision relates to permission for a fence to be built in the rear yard with a height of 2.44 meters, whereas the maximum fence height permitted is 2 meters, and that's at 31 Woodhaven Court. And no further items for this committee, Your Worship, unless there are any items from the members. And seeing none, yep. And then we'll move to community engagement and services. First item relates to amendment and extension of early on agreements. I have motion that report SCSS 2625 relating to the amendment and extension of early on agreements be received for information, and for the council direct mayor and clerk to execute amended agreements with Tiny Tots Co-op Nursery of Aldborough Inc. and YMCA of Southwestern Ontario, extending the city's funding and partnership for early on programs and services in the designated delivery zones within the city and Elgin County for a period of 1 year. Moved by Councillor Kohler, seconded by Councillor Gibson.
Questions or comments? Councillor Clark?
Just wondering if how, and I don't know if there are other providers that are interested, but if we extend it, how do new people get an opportunity to, say, bid on those contracts?
Good evening. I can answer that question. I'm on Zoom.
I was hunting for you.
Here I am.
You're here in two dimensions. Go ahead.
Thank you. We are extending the contract for the period of 1 year, and we will be in the RFP process the following year. So we are extending the process just for this year, and we will RFP the process so that anybody can apply after this year is done. It is our intent to do that.
And why are we doing the extension instead of doing it this year, for example?
So we were notified at the end of October that one of the providers was did not want to fulfill the contract and continue in the contract. We did not have enough time to RFP that and to put it out for January. So we chose to extend it by the 1 year, knowing that we will have the time next year in 2026 to do the full RFP process so that anybody can apply for the program if they desire. We wanted to make sure that it was a seamless transition, that the programs wouldn't stop, that we would be able to continue the programs for any of the families that were in those programs.
Great. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
No further items for this committee unless there are any items from the members.
Councillor Baldwin-Sands?
Thank you. I understand that the Parks and Rec Master Plan, the consultant is ready to come forward with a draft proposal. I was hoping that we could have a few words from the Director of Parks and Recreation.
Sure.
Through your worship to Councillor Baldwin-Sands, thank you. And I wanted to let council know that staff have now received the final draft versions of both the Parks and Rec Master Plan and the associated feasibility study. We're aiming for, once the holidays are over, that we will move into the formal review phase, and that will include circulating the draft documents to council for review and at the same time release them publicly. Public engagement is anticipated to begin in early January and will include online posting, a written feedback form, and a public open house planned for mid-January with both an afternoon and an evening session. And then following the public review period and incorporation of feedback where appropriate, the final documents will be brought forward for a single presentation and council consideration at the March 9th meeting.
Okay. You have more? Okay, go ahead.
And in addition to that, I have been keeping on track of the Uxbridge project, which is currently underway. It's 13-month design, build, and ready to go. It is a 25-meter pool with a full community center at a price tag of $18 million. So I am still monitoring that project that is local as well.
Great. Anything else under that committee? Seeing none?
We'll now move into infrastructure and civic operations. No items on the agenda at this time unless there are any items from the members. Seeing none, your worship, we'll move to corporate governance and administration. First item relates to 2026 emergency alternatives for council. I have a motion that report CC 1525 relating to 2026 emergency alternatives for council be received for information, and further, council establish the following roster of council members to serve as an alternate to the mayor for the year 2026 in the event of a municipal emergency, should the mayor not be available. Beginning from January, Councillor Taylor, February, Councillor Wookie, and then in alphabetical order, including Councillor Reimel for August, and then ending with November 1st to 14th, Councillor Baldwin Sands. Moved by Councillor Baldwin Sands, seconded by Councillor Gibson.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried.
Next item relates to the 2026 Mayor's Winter Levy Event and 2025 in review. I have a motion that report CMO 5425 relating to the 2026 Mayor's Winter Levy Event and 2025 year in review be received for information, and further, the council support the launch of the 2025 year in review publication at the Winter Levy Event. Moved by Councillor Kohler, seconded by Councillor Taylor.
Questions or comments? Councillor Clark?
I just thought it might be a nice idea if the mayor had a dunk tank that day and provide a little entertainment.
It's an incredible idea, and we'll take that under advisement. Further questions or comments? Councillor Herbert?
I'm sure I missed it, but is there a time frame for this? Like, is it all day, 9 till 5, or?
I believe it's at market day at market hours. Am I correct? Yes. Yeah. See?
So that's what, 8?
Sorry, in the wintertime, 9 till 1.
9 till 1. Thank you.
Yep. Further questions or comments? Seeing none? All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
Next item relates to the updated accountability and transparency policy. I have a motion that reports CC 1725 relating to an updated accountability and transparency policy be received for information, and further, council adopt the accountability and transparency policy GA01. Moved by Councillor Wookie, seconded by Councillor Gibson.
Great. We didn't have any, so it can't be further yet. Discussion or comment? Seeing none? All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. I feel more transparent already.
Next item relates to the 2026 interim tax levy. I have a motion that report TR 2625 relating to the 2026 interim tax levy be received for information, and further, the council authorize the preparation of a bylaw to establish the 2026 interim tax levy. Moved by Councillor Wookie, seconded by Councillor Taylor.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
Next item relates to the 2026 temporary borrowing bylaw. I have a motion that report TR 2725 relating to the 2026 temporary borrowing bylaw be received for information, and further, council authorize the preparation of a bylaw to establish the 2026 borrowing limits. Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Taylor.
Questions or comments? Councillor Herbert?
Thank you, Your Worship. When we talk about the temporary borrowing bylaw, is there a limit on what you can do in 1 year?
That's what we're setting, I think, but I'll go to the treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So under the bylaw, we're allowed to borrow up to 50% of the city's internal revenues between the period of January and September, and then 25% thereafter. So there is some limit set, but generally it's set at a limit that I don't think the city will ever actually require.
Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
No further items on the agenda, Your Worship, unless there are any items from the members. And seeing none, council will now reconvene into regular session. I have a motion that the recommendations, directions, and actions of council in committee of the whole as recorded in the minutes of this date be confirmed, ratified, and adopted. Moved by Councillor Baldwin Sands, seconded by Councillor Kohler.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
Next, we move into reports of committees. One committee report this evening relating to Valley View Resident and Family Satisfaction Survey for the year 2025. I have a motion that report VV0325 relating to the Valley View Resident and Family Satisfaction Survey for 2025 be received for information. Moved by Councillor Baldwin Sands, seconded by Councillor Herbert.
Questions or comments? Councillor Kohler.
Thanks, Your Worship. As the report says, staff's pretty happy with this. And I know the scores are still pretty high, but on some of the other ones, like I know it's still 88%, and that's usually a good score, but are you doing any work on there to just try to find out what generated some of the negative thoughts towards that?
Mr. Carroll, great to have you here tonight.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's good to be here. Good to be here. All of the information that's collected in the surveys is sent to our Quality Improvement Committee. And so over the course of the next several months, we will be meeting and we will be digging deeper into those particular all the numbers actually. And with the numbers, we do know now, because you have the summary with you here now, but we have a more detailed, people did answer the questions and gave us comments, and we kind of know why the comments were given and who, and why they were the reasons for the particular comment. So yes, we will be certainly doing that.
Great. Further questions or comments? Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
Next, we move into petitions and communications. First item, a letter received from Catfish Creek Conservation Authority regarding the authority's draft 2026 budget and levy apportionment. Unless there are any further items from the members, we'll now move into unfinished business of council. And seeing no items from the members, we'll move into new business of council. There is an item of new business from a previous notice of motion relating to proposed consolidation of conservation authorities that is being moved by Councillor Baldwin Sands. Just need a seconder. Moved by or seconded by Councillor Herbert. Members have a copy of the motion, Your Worship. If you wish, I can read it.
I'd say it's fairly long, but it's up to the mover. Would you like it read into the record? Okay.
Whereas the Conservation Authorities Act of 1946 enables municipalities to establish local conservation authorities, and when municipalities choose to form such authorities, they assume responsibility for governance and funding through the appointment of a board of directors and the provision of an annual levy to cover expenses. And whereas the City of St. Thomas established the Kettle Creek Conservation Authority, initially formed in 1965, and Catfish Creek Conservation Authority, initially formed in 1950, and whereas local municipalities currently provide over 30% of total conservation authority funding, while the province provides approximately 2% based on the 2025 budget, whereas municipalities have governed their respective conservation authorities for decades, tailoring programs and services to local watershed needs, maintaining accountable service standards, and ensuring fair and predictable costs for ratepayers, and whereas conservation authorities collect, own, and manage thousands of acres of land, many of these properties are entrusted to the Kettle Creek Conservation Authority and Catfish Creek Conservation Authority for long-term protection, stewardship, and the public good, with the expectation that such lands would be cared for by locally governed conservation authorities. And whereas Bill 68, Schedule 3, proposes the creation of the Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency, a Crown corporation that would assume governance responsibilities and consolidate Ontario's 36 conservation authorities into 7 regional authorities with municipal cost apportionment yet to be defined. And whereas the province already possesses the authority to establish overarching legislation, regulations, and standards through the Conservation Authorities Act and the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of St. Thomas calls on the Government of Ontario to maintain local independent, municipally owned watershed-based conservation authorities to ensure strong local representation in decisions relating to municipal levies, community-focused service delivery, and the protection and management of conservation lands. And further, that while the City of St. Thomas supports provincial goals for consistent permit approval processes, shared services, and digital modernization, imposing a new top-down agency structure without strong local accountability and governance risks creating unnecessary cost, red tape, and bureaucracy, thereby undermining efficiency and responsiveness to local community needs. And further, that the City of St. Thomas supports efforts to balance expertise, capacity, and program delivery across the province, and requests that the province work collaboratively with municipalities and local conservation authorities to determine the most effective level of strategic consolidation to achieve both provincial and local objectives. And further, that a copy of this resolution be sent to Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, local MPPs, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Rural Ontario Municipal Association, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, Area Indigenous Communities, all municipalities, conservation authorities, and Conservation Ontario.
Questions or comments? Councillor Baldwin-Sands.
Thank you. I did attend on Friday the consultation that took place for this region, the Lake Erie region, that is proposed. And every single municipality and every single conservation authority that was in attendance pretty much said the absolute same thing about how opposed that they are for this moving forward. What I have presented was pretty much the same that has been done through other municipalities across the region. So this was drafted, and we've also seen it before on our council. And my hope is to have this council support it, and I'm hoping for unanimous support, and that's why I will ask for a recorded vote. But I do understand that administration would like a slight amendment to one of the item lines in the proposed notice of motion.
Would you like to share what that is, or City Manager?
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to Council. Administration did confer with the Planning Department, and generally speaking, we are supportive of the whereas clauses and don't see much risk in adopting them. Generally, administration, we do not submit comments directly to higher levels of government. However, we instead advocate directly with our local MPP on city-specific business. The city, we support efforts to streamline approvals, ensure local responsiveness, reduce duplication, and empower local decision-making. We do note that the notion that financial contributions should align with governance obligations. We believe that if there's changes to representation, municipal financial contributions should also be amended. And we would recommend amending the second resolution. We want it to reflect the city's positive working relationship with this government and be less critically framed. So I would recommend an amendment that says, and I'll read it, and further that the City of St. Thomas supports provincial goals for consistent permit approval processes, shared services, digital modernization, and strong local accountability and governance. The city supports collaborative local governance that reduces unnecessary costs while limiting red tape and bureaucracy. We recommend that reframing because it appears less critical.
As the mover, are you okay with that amendment? The seconder?
I support.
Okay, great. So as amended, further conversation. Councillor Herbert.
Thank you, Worship. Well, if you've been following this, what they want to do in the Toronto Star or the London Free Press, there's not one municipality in Ontario that has any support for this at all. It's just, it makes no sense. We, Lori and I are both on the Kettle Creek, and at a couple of our meetings, we had a page and a half of reasons why it would not work. And I don't even know the reasoning behind it, what they want to do. But anyway, both of us certainly support that our city should support this motion for sure. So anyway, thank you.
Councillor Clark.
Thanks, Your Worship. I'm the council's rep on the Catfish Creek Authority, and similarly, none of the member municipalities support the amalgamation as is being put forward at present, but are open to looking at maybe other new models and working together with the government to see whether or not something could be worked out that would share the load actually a little bit more.
Councillor Wookie?
Thanks, Your Worship. It's hard to even start. I think there's room for some consolidation with conservation authorities. I looked on the map and I've given this some thought when I got the map of, you know, Catfish, Kettle, Lower Thames, maybe Long Point, that kind of thing. So somewhere along here, like I get that. And I know that we have many municipalities as neighbors, and there's small municipalities and small groups they have trouble attracting and keeping good talent because they are so small and they leave and go other places. And I believe that for conservation authorities, small ones especially, this would be a challenge. So for me, I'll be honest, I don't like how expansive this is. Like there are parts of this I like, and there's parts of it I don't like. I don't necessarily want all the conservation authorities to stay as they are. So I have trouble with this, whether I support this or not, because I don't really need it to be the status quo. I'd love to see some consolidation just because I think there's so much Catfish, Kettle, Lower Thames say have in common. So this puts me in a difficult position because this is exactly the kind of expansive motions I don't like. There's parts I like, parts I don't like. So I have challenges with this. I don't want to see 7. I don't think that makes much sense to me. I think that gets a little out of hand. So where do you draw the line? Well, I don't draw the line at 7, but I also don't draw the line at 36. So that's where I'm at with this at the moment.
Further questions or comments? If I can add, I'm just going to be consistent. I don't believe I've ever voted for a motion that told another level of government how to better do their jobs. So I will be voting against on that. But part of what was just added, our own amendment here, I rather liked. We have a fantastic relationship right now with other levels of government, and I'd rather do our business that way than some sort of others. While the province is in the middle of consultation on their project, and then I'd rather wait and see what the result is and then consult personally with our member of provincial parliament on this case and other municipalities around us at that time. So I will be voting against on the principle that I don't want another level of government tell me how to do our job better, and I'm not going to tell them. Further questions or comments? Councillor Kohler.
Thanks, Your Worship. Without saving time, but I totally agree with Councillor Wilkie and yourself on this, and I certainly won't be supporting this for those same reasons.
All right. Seeing no other comments or questions, we have a recorded vote call.
Councillor Baldwin Sands,
Yes?
Councillor Clark,
Yes.
Councillor Gibson,
No.
Councillor Herbert,
Turning green. Oh, now it's red. Yes, thank you. Yes.
It's Christmas.
Yes, 3 times.
Councillor Kohler,
No.
Councillor Taylor,
Yes.
Councillor Peters, not Councillor Peters, Councillor Rymel, who is absent. Sorry, I have an old form. Councillor Wookie,
No.
Your Worship.
No.
Your Worship, that's 4-4 and the motion is lost.
Next item.
No public notices this evening or notices of motion. At this time, there's a need to move into closed session. I have a motion that this meeting be closed to deal with the labor relations matter and a position plan criteria or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality. Moved by Councillor Wookie, second by Councillor Clark.
Before we call a vote on it, we will be moving into closed session. For those that have joined us in the public tonight and online, thank you for doing so. This is our last scheduled meeting before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to all of the citizens of the City of St. Thomas, all of you that work for the City of St. Thomas, all of you that enjoy what happens here in our community. Merry Christmas to all, and we'll see you all at the first of the year. So in favor of going into closed session? That's carried.
Your worship, at this time, I have a motion that council rise from closed session. Moved by Councillor Baldwin Sands, seconded by Councillor Gibson.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I probably should have asked this earlier when we had our staff here, but my neglect. But I do know that we are entering into Christmas season. It's very, very busy out there, lots and lots of traffic. And I know that Fairview Bridge construction is still underway. And my understanding is that it is not going to be opened in 2025 is what I'm hearing. I just want to confirm that so that we can put the notification out and whether the city staff are doing that to the general public, just for them to understand where we're at on that project. We're doing the best we can, but trying to get onto First Ave from any of the side streets now is almost impossible because of the traffic out there. But I think it's worth that our staff make sure that that word goes out. We're doing the best we can. There's been some hiccups, but that's what I was looking for, just a confirmation and a verification out to the general public of where we're at. Thank you.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Council. Yes, same topic, the road. And I read in the flyer that was sent out, no streetlights. And that's the reason it's held up right now. If the streetlights were in, it would be functional until they get the streetlights in or the stoplights in. It just kind of, I thought to myself, you've known for a year and a half, you need stoplights in that corner. So they couldn't have poured the cement and put a stoplight up instead of waiting till, I've been promising this in October, November, now December, now Councilor Taylor said into the new year. Could even be longer. I don't know who puts the stoplights in. Is it Integris? Or I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you. It's just, it's frustrating to think that all of a sudden it's stoplights holding us up now and the road's ready to go.
Well, let's let our city manager have a chance to say something on it. And the next time that we're looking for a new construction manager, I'm sure your resume will come in.
Great. Thank you, Your Worship. And through you to Councillors Herbert and Taylor, I do have confirmation from the city engineer that it is in fact that we are waiting on energization of those traffic signals. The contractor learned that the poles were back ordered and they're hoping to arrive next week. And then they will not likely to be energized until the first week of January. So we will update our communications to put them out as soon as possible. And we share in council and the residents' frustration that this project is not complete.
Right. If I can add to that, city manager, we all receive a update every week, what's going on with big projects in our community. That one is one, and we've been all watching. Is there a reason we can't just put that out under City of St. Thomas News, each big construction project's update? Because it would certainly cut down a lot less coffee shop scuttlebutt.
Sure. Thank you, Your Worship. I will share that with our communications team so that they can find a way to reshare that notification.
Perfect. Councillor Wookey, another engineering issue?
It just, something doesn't smell right with that explanation. I just want to say that.
Right.
At all. That doesn't,
right.
Like it's a month and a half or 2 months behind and your poles are back ordered. They should have been here 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So like I'm hoping that Mr. DeLebeck, like, I don't buy that at all. Like, and I don't like calling out people, like I'm pretty rational, but that doesn't cut it at all. So I would love to hear the real reason about it. And I'm hoping that we can do an assessment of whoever is telling us that regarding future contracts in the city. Because again, that is, if we were on time, I'd buy that. That they ordered them in a fair time, they didn't come in. But 2 months later, they should be sitting in somebody's yard right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And then, of course, we can also ask Mr. DeLebeck about, is there a penalty clause in the lateness of this bill? But can't be handled for us tonight. Let's get the news out to the people as to how soon the street will be open. Anything else, Madam Clerk?
We'll just move into bylaws at this time, Your Worship. I have a motion that leave be granted to bring in the bylaws. Moved by Councillor Baldwin Sands, seconded by Councillor Taylor.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
I have a motion by Counselor Baldwin Sands, seconded by Counselor Taylor, that the bylaws be now read a first time, referred to council and committee of the whole, and read a second time.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
First bylaw, please.
First bylaw is a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held on the 15th day of December, 2025.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Second bylaw is a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute and affix the seal of corporation to a certain agreement between the city and YWCA St. Thomas Elgin relating to the homelessness prevention program.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Third bylaw is a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute and affix the seal of the corporation to a certain agreement between the city and the inn, also related to the homelessness prevention program.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw.
Fourth bylaw is a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute and affix the seal of the corporation to a certain agreement between the city and Family Central, also relating to the homelessness prevention program.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Fifth bylaw is a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute and affix the seal of the corporation to a certain agreement between the city and the Canadian Mental Health Association Thames Valley Addiction and Mental Health Services relating to the homelessness prevention program.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Sixth bylaw is a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute and affix the seal of the corporation to a certain agreement between the city and Youth for Christ relating to the homelessness prevention program.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Seventh bylaw is a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute and affix the seal of the corporation to a certain agreement between the city and 1-000-725-093 Ontario Inc. relating to the grant acknowledgement agreement under the Community Improvement Program for the property at 40 Wellington Street.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Eighth bylaw is a bylaw to authorize borrowing from time to time to meet current expenditures during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Ninth bylaw is a bylaw to adopt an interim tax levy.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
10th and final bylaw is a bylaw to establish salaries and benefits for certain non-union employees of the city of St. Thomas.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Your worship, I rise and report the successful passing of the 10 bylaws.
Great work.
I have a motion by Councillor Baldwin Sands, seconded by Councillor Taylor, that the report of council and committee of the whole on the 10 bylaws be received and adopted. The same be read a third time, engrossed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
No further items on the agenda, your worship. At this time, I have a motion for adjournment. Moved by Councillor Gibson, seconded by Councillor Clark.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Sorry, I thought you were going for a question. All in
Fine.
favor?
Merry Christmas. Happy
Yeah,
holidays.
great.
Happy New Year all.
All of those things. And maybe less snow. That is carried.